Welcome back, nail queens. Today I want to show you guys these gel paints that Saviland was so kind enough to send me over Christmas time. Yeah, if you can look at my nails, they are Christmas nails, and we are in April. Oh my god, it's just been a crazy past few months because of the wedding and family and holidays and whatnot. But they sent me these gorgeous gel paints, and I'm going to put them to use today to show you guys how I designed my April Mani of the month design set for my press-on nail shop. So, but you guys do not have to do press-ons to do what I'm going to show you guys here today. You can do them on your own nails. Ooh, they come with they have tabs. They have tabs. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how annoying it is trying to rip stuff up, the foil seal that they have on these things, if there's no tab. I am so grateful and gracious that there's a tab here, yes. And although Saviland sent this into me December, you know, I don't typically do texture designs until spring, summer, and fall. Maybe I should do some texture designs in the winter, I don't know, but yeah, these tab things, amazing to getting these jars open, and you don't have to open it all the way, so you can reuse the tab, just close it, whatever. Anyways, here I am now in April, finally using this. As you can see, my manis have changed, but I'm going to pick out the colors I'm going to use for today's design set. So this is a brown. It says brown, but trust me, it's more on the burgundy brown scale. I pulled out the yellow, but I actually ended up not using it. Pulled out the blackish green, ended up not using it. I actually only ended up using 4 of these gel pots, but the other tin I'm going to show you guys is from Saviland too. Anyways, I already put the gel on all of my tips, and I put the matte top coat on the 2 white off-white tips. And this is the tin I was just referencing. I have a whole video on it, so I'm not going to go into huge detail on it and how I made this tin, but the gel paints inside the little squares are from Saviland as well, so it's all the same company. I'm going to show off the rest of the supplies I'm using here. So I have this crown brush rest. I have this out of shot, but it's great for holding your nail brushes. I have this tile here to put gel on if I need to, and my Holy Grail nail art brushes are from the Painted Desert. I have been searching high and low and buying other nail art brushes and testing them out, and the quality just does not compare to the Painted Desert ones. These are my go-to. So I pulled out the 12mm liner brush. It's the longest liner brush that the Painted Desert sells, and before we dip into the paint, the gel paint, it's important that you have a matte top coat already cured on your nail. And I slowed this down so I can show you guys, but the tip of my nail art brush has a little tiny dollop, like a bead. It's hard to focus, I'm sorry about that, but a bead of gel. I'm going to replay this part. And that bead is essential to doing the designs we're going to be doing here today, which is like that 3D textured petal. So what not to do is to go in without a plan, like I just did here. I just took the brush, took a thing, and just bloop, bloop. And then I went in the opposite direction, which is something you definitely don't want to do, but it kind of worked out. But that's not the goal of this. What I need to do is stick my brush into the little jars or the little cells that I have here and get a little bit of paint out, and then make sure that the gel paint is forming a dollop, like a circular dollop towards the free edge of the brush. And then I deposit that dollop on the nail and drag it downwards. As you're dragging downwards, you kind of want to let up on the brush, so you put most of the pressure on the brush and on the nail when you're placing the dollop down. And then when you're dragging it downwards, you want to form more of a teardrop shape. And in order to do that, you have to let up on the brush. So you have to pick it up a little bit. And I'm going to redo that because that did not turn out how I like it. Which is honestly why I've turned to gel so much recently. Obviously because of press-ons, but the convenience of it as well. So if you notice here, I was able to wipe up a design with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And that's it. As long as it's not cured, you can remove what you're dissatisfied with. So I'm redoing that little purple blob I got right there. I swear, I've just been so into these texture designs lately. I don't know what it is. I had a customer ask for one, so I made it for her. And then my sister, she messaged me and she's like, "Can I have a set like this?" And I was like, "You got it." And I did a design, like a 3D texture design a couple weeks ago. You guys probably saw that video. And then I was like, you know what? I want to do this for my Mani of the Month for my customers. And it was a hit. People loved it. I'm like so shocked, so surprised. Like every single month that I create the Mani of the Month designs, I'm like, are people going to like this? Are they going to cancel their subscription? Like that's such a nerve-wracking thing to me. Because I'm like, what if they don't like it? I have to make sure that it's like unique and different enough to warrant someone to be like, yeah, I like that. That's so cool. But also not so out of the box that they're like, I wouldn't wear that. I don't know. It's a little too busy. So I have to like bounce between that fine line of doing too much and not enough. And it's a hard line to make sure you don't go over on either side. So I know this video seems a little long and I just babbled. I'm sorry. There's tons of more petals for me to do, so you're not missing out. I'm just going over in a circle, bouncing back and forth between two different colors, so all the petals look different. Each petal, like, it's alternating. And now I'm putting like a little dab of yellow, mustard yellow, in two spots. That's gonna let me know like where the center of my petal should be. And then I'm creating the little petals with my 12mm nail art brush. For these petals, yeah, I wasn't good at this technique really when I started, so I'm doing it a little backwards. It took me a little bit to understand where I should be putting my dollops, to be honest. And they actually turned out decent, so I'm surprised. But looking back, I wouldn't have created like little teardrops like this. I would have done it the way I mentioned in the beginning of the video, where you put a dollop down and then you drag it towards where you want the skinnier area to be. And I use textured paint in my like hat designs and everything. And the concept is literally the same, but with a spatula. So I can't believe it didn't transfer over for me when I was designing this right here. So doing this like this is a little more complicated than the way I've been doing it as of recently. So you're gonna notice me doing it with the purple, where I'm putting like the little drop down and I'm pulling towards where I want it to be skinnier. That is how you do it. And I've watched some videos to verify that that is how you do it. So I know for sure this works. And I've created probably like 10 of these sets for my press-on nail business because people have subscribed or done a one-time purchase for them. So I've definitely got lots of practice with these petals in. Switch colors over to the lighter purple, and I just put the little dollop down and I drag towards the tip. As I drag towards the tip, I'm literally just bringing the brush up a little bit. That makes the tip skinnier. So when you want to make the tip skinnier, you just bring the brush up. And I messed that one up, so I'm like, we're going to redo that one. It didn't look as aesthetically pleasing, so I used a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a brush, and now this little lint-free wipe, which I do not recommend these lint-free wipes to anyone. They were the absolute worst to work with. But yeah, just drop and drag, and when you're dragging, bring the tip up a little bit. And when you're happy with it, you cure it. If you're not happy with it, take rubbing alcohol and wipe it all off. These, ooh, I just love how these turned out. These are my favorite. I'm like, I think it was the viscosity of this gel paint in particular. It's just like, it was like butter to use. It just, it just drags so easily. I'm getting all excited about it because I'm like, it was just like the perfect gel paint to use for this technique. It worked marvelously. Like, do I say marvelous? Am I that kind of person? Possibly. Anyways, now I'm going to do more of those teardrops. They're literally everywhere all over these designs. That's all I do for this design. Petal here, petal there, a dot here, more petals. So they turned out so much better when I was finally getting a hang of the concept of drop the dollop and then drag it towards the little tip where you want it to be skinnier. You can curve them a little with like the little twist of the wrist kind of situation. So yeah, so I'm gonna do a little dot on either side to give it a little center, like a little focal point. Give it some interest, but in a different complementing color. It's like similar, but not too, it's not the same. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to use the lighter purple, much lighter purple, here at the top in the corners, just to give it another accent focal point. And this is literally me designing this set, like coming up with the idea of this set. So I'm like, let me throw this here. Let me put that there. That's literally how this is happening. What I've learned about these 3D texture designs is if you don't copy the design from like some inspiration you found, like tiles or something off of the internet, then all you have to do, like symmetry is very important for this design, but also the more designs you put in there and the more color you put in there, it's like more interesting. If there's too much space all around the nail, the design doesn't look right. If you guys love nail art and doing nail art, I highly recommend this gel paint set on both sides. The one I have in the tins, I'll make sure to link those, and the video I showed how I did that. But I also really love the other pots. They are definitely different than the ones I used in my little tin video that I used for this little watercolor palette. They're different. They're larger. The lids are so much easier to take off, like with that little foil that has the little lip so you can peel it back. The other ones didn't have that, so it really just depends on your personal preference, how many colors you want, because I believe I got 48 colors in the little watercolor tin. I had a lot of colors in the set I bought for that one, whereas the one they sent me, I think it's like 12 colors, which is not a problem. It's still a lot of colors, you know, so I highly recommend these gel paints. They have been my go-to for doing nail art for the last few months. I love them, and I can see myself doing so much more. And if you guys want to see more tutorials using these kind of gel paints, let me know. It doesn't have to be these textured 3D designs, but it can be like other kinds of nail art. So if you guys want to see more content with this gel paint style in particular, definitely let me know in the comments below.